Good morning and welcome in everyone. Before we get into this morning's update and get into the charts, I'd like to go over an overview of what is transpiring with XRP outside of the charts and just a key fact. So as we can see, the SEC has extended the review for several XRP ETFs with a decision expected in 240 days. Final rulings are anticipated by mid-October alongside other crypto ETF decisions. So that's a pretty big hindrance there, 240-day delay. So that's going to be, that's definitely going to push the narrative a little bit here. They keep pushing these ETF approvals and such and so on and things like that. But as we can see here, we'll read about the decision after I go through the intro. So please make sure to hit that like button so YouTube does recommend this update. It would be very important for this to go through the algorithm so that most can see what's going on with the ETF non-approval and the 240-day delay. So we'll do the intro and then I'm going to read that and then we'll get into the chart real quick. Good morning, 7:57 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Wednesday, April 30th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So what happened with the ETF stuff? So the SEC delays Franklin Spot XRP ETF decision. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has decided to postpone its decision on whether or not to approve the Spot XRP ETF proposed by Franklin Templeton, a major investment firm. What does this mean? Spot ETF. A Spot ETF would let investors gain exposure to XRP, a cryptocurrency, through traditional stock markets without having to actually buy and hold the crypto themselves. Franklin Templeton, this is a big investment company that wants to launch this ETF to help more traditional investors access XRP safely and easily. The SEC is responsible for approving or denying such financial products. In the U.S., it often takes extra time to review applications. A delay means they haven't said yes or no yet. They just need more time to decide. An approval could boost mainstream adoption for XRP. A delay shows the SEC is still being cautious with crypto-related investments, especially spot ETFs. Investors are watching closely because approval of any spot crypto ETF often brings more attention and potentially higher prices to the underlying crypto. It's awesome. They just talked about all that stuff, but they didn't talk about the main information. You gotta love it. Gotta love it. So I always encourage you to read more than just one thing. So the main news that actually came out is that, where's this at? The ETF approval, it's a 240-day delay. That's the main thing. Like, that's what we'll read into. If we need to do more, we'll talk about it more tonight in the live. But for the sanity of time here, because I have to leave in about 20 minutes, I wanted to just at least cover it a little bit. So we got 240 days now. 240 days until mid-October before this is going to be approved. So they basically laid the foundation here for very chaotic events. We do have some things moving up. So XRP right now sitting right around $2.24. Remains painfully below the levels that are of need. Still looking fantastic on the weekly, on a weekly engulfing candle. So we still haven't given that back, despite having a little bit of bearishness. It's just we've opened up the door for more bearish stuff, but we still have that golden cross. We have the 100 crossing the 200, and the as finished off here, the 100 has crossed the 200 officially now. And as long as we don't break down past the 100 through the 200, and right now 217 is going to be a very important support, we are set up for a parabolic spike. So despite the ETF non-approval, we are still set up for a parabolic spike, assuming it doesn't break down. And a big key here would be if it breaks under $2.17, then you'd be like, uh-oh. But anything aside from breaking down from $2.17, it still looks good. We're still on the top of this golden cross. The fact now that the 100 has crossed the 200-day shows that this is a verified short-term reversal. You get the 50 going through the 200, you have a signal. You get the 50 crossing the 200, that's confirmation. You get the 100 crossing the 200 and showing support. That's a full-blown pattern reversal in the 4 hourly. So now we need carry out. We need follow through. We haven't had the follow through yet. Follow through here would get you, in my opinion, $2.51 if you follow through. You got to get back above 229. Major pivot point, as we've known for some time. But now if you get above that, now you're firmly looking at that $2.51 area. And it actually would be a fantastic thing to see. If we look at this from the all-time perspective, which is nice to do sometimes so we don't bash our heads through the walls. From an all-time perspective, we are still above a very critical level here. And as long as we maintain support in this box here, so the way I've been describing this for anybody if you're new, basically supply zone from 2014 to 2017, shot out. To me, this is the distribution center. So we should distribute to buyers if we want to move higher. Unfortunately, the distribution was going all to sellers. Then we tried to find the supply zone, but it ended up being more of a, let's just cut our losses and come all the way back down to the real supply. So this is kind of like the pivot layer where you resupply for a further move up, but we failed to resupply at any point back here. So then we came back down to supply zone, pushed back up. Unfortunately, in the resupply or demand, I guess you could call it, demand zone, there was no demand for buyers. The sellers fully liquidated here and came back through. Supply zone ended up being a little bit higher. Back here is about 9 cents. Here it's about 28 cents. So definitely a higher floor. Just like we had a higher resistance. Over here is about 74 cents. Over here it's about 90 cents. Then when we came up this time into the demand zone again, in my opinion, we had sellers again. But in the distribution, they were sellers again, not buyers. But in the demand zone where we could restock up, this time instead of everybody going fearful and selling out for a third time when we get into this box, we actually bought it. You know, people were buying it this time. So they rebuilt a supply in there. So it feels like that was a demand zone this time for buyers instead of sellers. So now what we're looking to do is break this distribution center, let's say. We're going to distribute, but we need buyers instead of sellers. So we need the vendors to be selling instead of buying the product back. Right now, the product's being bought back by retail, and then it comes back to supply. Well, right now we need to break past that level, that barrier, and we're off to the races. If we break past those barriers, you're looking at least $5.49 as the technical target from the start of this bull run would finish. But you could also go as high as $6.79 in the best case scenario. Now, that doesn't mean that's the final step. That just means best case scenario, we could find ourselves way over the top. So, and then if you have a good consolidation and a good back test, then, the sky's the limit because you're in discovery. But with that being said, we'll have to watch very closely to see how people react to the ETF not being approved and how traders are going to react to the fact that it's a 240-day delay. That's not a 30-day delay, not a 60, not a 90, not a 120, 50. The 240-day delay, you're talking about 3/4 of a year almost. It's a pretty staggering delay. Like, that's 8 months. It really takes 8 months to do this? No, but that's the way we do things in the USA. It's bend over retail no matter what the situation is, and then hope nobody calls you out on it. And in the USA, no one's going to call anybody out on anything because they're, for lack of a better word, we're too stupid in the USA. People are still fighting about Trump's 100 days. Like, can we finally understand that the central banks control it, the Fed? Like, it's mind-numbing. So, and then the technical target here for Bitcoin is still up at 99,631 to fill this off. It still looks fine. Daily time frame looks fine. Weekly time frame looks fine. Yesterday looked like it might have been an assault just to make it look like crypto was a little bearish in the moment. But right now, that weekly engulfing candle is getting stronger. Now, will the rest of crypto move with Bitcoin? That's the question to be asked. Ethereum, we've been watching, thinking that it's only a matter of time before it pushes back up to that at least $2,300 level. Eventually, it should retest that rising wedge breakdown right around 25.40. So that's what I see. So I'm XRP Future Millionaire. If you do appreciate what I do, please make sure to hit that like button. It will definitely help this content push forward. We need everybody to see this today for the fact that that ETF did not get approved and there's a 240-day delay. If you're looking to trade cryptocurrency in the USA or worldwide, and you want to use an exchange that never lost its sight on XRP, even in the times of the lawsuit, Bitunix, lowest spot and leverage trading fees worldwide, no KYC or VPN needed, even in the USA. It's a asset to asset exchange. So you're not sending or receiving from a bank account. You got to send from another exchange and or wallet. And then you have to send back the withdrawal to your bank account to one of your other landing spots. But the fees are non-existent. The leverage trading fees are so low. And it just makes it so much easier to trade without losing a bunch of money. So that's where I'll leave it. Have a blessed morning, everybody. Don't let your emotions dictate your response. And I really, really gratefully and generally appreciate everybody who supports my channel.